And welcome back. And so today we're going to talk about custom formatting. What is it? How do we master it? Now, a lot of people actually confuse themselves when they think about custom formatting. They think conditional formatting. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk about conditional formatting before I get into custom formatting. So a lot of people will see a data set like this. This is just our sales team numbers. This is volume by person by month from January through June of 2021. And let's say, someone wants to quickly see, like what people will do say, oh, I want to know a month where you were over like 50. So let's say highlight cells rule greater than, 55.5 green. Okay. And then they add that in, right? And it gets them some analysis here, and then they might add in color scale. They might add in a bunch of colors, right? So, basically, as you get higher, or if you're in some bracket, you're yellow. If you're in another bracket, you're red. I think this is stupid, to be honest. I don't really. I've never done an analysis where a boss has told me, "Hey, I want you to highlight the cells which are large." Maybe you can find a situation where that's useful, but I have not. Um, Going back to custom formatting, though, or sorry, conditional formatting. What's an actual interesting conditional formatting statement? Ignore all this stuff and go to new rule. So if we go to new rule, there's a couple of base formats here to help you if you don't know what you're doing. But we're just going to pretend like we know what we're doing. So we got to use a formula to determine which cells to format. Okay, so we're going to write our own formula basically. All right, so we go here, press equals. What do we want to do? Let's look at this date banner right here. So let's go to this banner right here. And notice how we've selected the cells we want to highlight, but we're actually choosing a cell that's outside of our range, okay? And we're gonna row lock this. So what that says is, okay, if you are in cell J11, look at the cell in J10. And the reason why we wanted to look at J10 and we just wanted to look at be locked to row 10 is that it'll rotate over. So basically what happens here is if I go over to Ben in the month of February, well then it will refer to 228. It will refer to 331 if we're at 16 here. So it's going to move down the line. So I could say, okay, equals that, just the row lock, and then I want you to reference the current month. Okay? And what do I want you to do? I want you to highlight the current month. So let's do this. Okay? So what happens? Oh, it highlights the month that we're looking at. So, why are you doing this? Well, let's say you are doing some sort of forecast. Okay? And let's make that a little bit smaller. Cool. So let's say, you're doing a forecast, and within your model, every time you update the current month, you want it to highlight the cells that you're in. Well, you can just go to, let's change that to 430. Oh, did 431. 430. Boom. What if I change that to 531? 531. Change it to 630. Now, as you can see, I can just change this one cell, and because I applied conditional formatting, the highlighting rule is going to just move around depending on what month I'm in. So I found that can be a really cool way just to, especially for asset management, if you're trying to just draw emphasis to the current month that you're in. And just to go over that, we highlighted the cells we wanted, and then we did a new rule here. Okay, now I'm actually going to go to manage rules. And then within this rule, we set it to cells that are actually outside of our range. Okay, so if I go to edit rule here, it's referring to the row above the range, and we row locked it and we set it equal to the current month and we double lock that. All right, so we're going to get rid of this. We're going to delete the rule. Actually, we can keep it. Why not? All right, so what is conditional formatting though? So That's the conditional formatting. So what's custom formatting? So custom formatting is you press Control 1 and you go to custom and you get all of these options. What on earth is this? Well, let's start off. Let's just say you write in 10. Okay. What if you write in 1000? Well, notice how right here there's no commas. So if I go here, I go to Control 1, I go to Custom. You notice this. What is this saying? This is saying just add a comma. Okay. So if I press Control down, right? If I go to a million, it's just saying every 3 zeros, I want you to use a comma. Okay. How do we do that? Well, this is a preset custom formatting, but it's just pound sign, comma, pound sign, 0. Okay. What's another custom formatting? Well, what if when it's negative, you want it to have brackets around it? So what if this is, so let's say this is negative 1000. Okay. What if we want to do brackets? Well, you come here and you say, okay. For when it's positive, I want it to look like this. But let's say it's negative. If it's negative, so I'm going to do semicolon. So now we're going negative. Brackets. And then we go to the pound sign, comma, pound sign, 0. So what you're saying is I still want you to have the commas, but now when it's negative, I want brackets. Okay, so instead of having the negative 1000 out here, it has brackets around it. That's very common for accounting styles. Okay, well let's do more. So let's go a little bit further. So you, oh sorry. All right, we'll go a little bit further. Well, what if you want it to be red? So if you go to custom here and we notice, oh, you can have it be red. So this is just saying, notice here, we don't need that for now. So we go like this. Okay, go here. Notice how now it's the same thing. So by adding in the red in brackets, it allows it to be colored red along with the brackets, along with the comma. And we can do the same thing here if we wanted it to be green. So I can go brackets, green. I've actually never done green, so we'll see if this actually works. We go down, I'm gonna do 1000. Hey, there you go. So it does green as well. Okay. So notice how we can color it. We can add brackets. We can add commas. Okay. What else can we do? Well, let's say this is awesome for financial modeling. So let's say you're doing, some sort of model where you have some amounts, $1 million. Okay. And, you have these months here. So I'm just going to take that, I'm going to copy that here. Okay. And you have a 3-month project. So we're typing 3 months, and you are what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, I want to do 1 million, and then we need to divide by 3. Okay. And then you can drag that out for 3. Something like that. I should have locked that. Okay. Cool. So what's that? Well, that's one way to model it, right? You have the assumption out here. So we'll do Alt H M C. We have our assumptions. Turn off caps lock. We have our assumptions. Okay. And we have our 2 assumptions here. Now, what's the problem? Well, I can't link to 3 months, right? Like if I tried to link, instead of doing this, if I tried to divide by this, let me get a value. And like, what is it saying? It's like, help on this error, right? Well, that's not going to be useful, but basically it's saying, hey, you can't divide by a string that doesn't make sense. You have to divide by a number. So if I just type in 3 here, though, so if I just go over here and I say 3, well then, okay, this will work. Now, what's the problem? Well, a lot of times when you're working, you're exchanging models, and someone's going to look in and be like, well, what does 3 mean? Right? Like, that's not necessarily intuitive to the next person what 3 might mean. So a better way to do this would be do the following. Press Control 1, we go to Custom. and we're going to type our own thing in here. So we're going to get rid of general, and we're going to say, okay, I want you to have a number, but I also want a text to appear. So I do a space, I do the quotation signs, and I'm just going to do this. I'm going to type in months and press OK. So now I only have 3 typed into that cell, yet it's showing up as 3 months. And so I can say, okay, equals the 1 million column lock divided by this, double lock that, okay, and we can drag that out. Now, one other thing we can do, let's make this a little bit better. Okay, so I'm gonna move that down one. All right, so we're gonna have this be period 1. And we're going to have this be equal period 1 plus 1. So we can go a little further. We're going to make more assumptions here. So let's go here. All right. And instead of underlining it, I'm sorry, I'm a big stickler on formatting. There we go. Okay, so I want this to be our period start. So I want this ideally to be period start, period end, and the 1 million 3 months. Okay, so how we're gonna do that? We're gonna do Control 1, come down to custom, go into here, and we're gonna say period start semicolon end quotations space 0. Okay, get rid of that, and I press 1. Okay, so how does that show up? Well, it's a 1, and it's period, but it shows up as period start is 1. Right? I can do here. I can go here, press tab, scroll down, press tab, backspace, period end, get the semicolon, quotation marks, add the space, add the 0, press enter, get rid of what's in there. I want it to end in period 3. Okay, cool. So then we have our 1, we have our 3, we have our 1 million, we have our total months. Oh, we can make this even better. So what we can do is we can say, how long is it? Well, how long it is this minus this plus 1, which is 3. Okay, so we could change this to 5, we could change this to 4, change this back to 3. Okay, now this is kind of becoming modeling, but you can see how this custom formatting can come in very handily. So now let's make this even better. So we're gonna do, okay, equals, we're gonna do a Boolean statement. So equals this cell, which we row lock, is less than or equal to this period. We could actually even do the ending period since we know we're starting at 1, but we'll do this for now. Okay. How does that return? Well, it turns as true. Where did I mess up? Did not lock that. Sorry. Gotta lock that. And that should be true, 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 false, false, false. You see, when you're ever building out a formula, always do it one step at a time. That way you can catch your errors. So now we know this part of the formula is working correctly. And we're just using that to say, is this within this time frame? It is. Perfect. Then I want you to multiply by the 1 million, which we're going to lock. Does that work? Yes, that's working perfectly, but we need to distribute out that 1 million for each month. So we're going to add one more. We're going to take this, we're going to divide by the amount of months, which we're also going to lock. Boom. And now if we change this to 4, change this to 5, change this to 6, now you've made a completely customizable model that is adapting to user inputs and is very easy to use. And the last thing, I know this is getting long, but the last thing we'll do is we'll just add our error check. So we'll just do our error check right here. And we just do this. We do equals the sum of this is equal to this. Okay. And that's how it's done.